Welcome back to the DAC Recap, the show where we recap all things Drexel and Philadelphia sports. As always, I'm your host, Luciano Duffy. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below. Now, let's jump right into it. Our first report comes from the DAC. The men's basketball team's home and home versus Northeastern was postponed last weekend due to COVID complications on Northeastern's end. Instead, the Dragons rerouted their bus to James Madison, where they tipped off versus the Dukes. Cameron Winter's 29 points were not enough as the Dragons fell 73-64 last Sunday. The girls, however, handled business on the road against the Huskies of Northeastern. On Saturday, behind Hannah Nihill's 21 points, the Dragons won 79-64. On Sunday, it was Nihill again, this time hitting a go-ahead basket with just 1.6 seconds on the clock. A wise man once told me, a win is a win. The Dragons were able to sweep their co-op school rivals this weekend. This upcoming weekend, the Dragons were slated to play their homecoming games versus Hofstra. Their weekend games have since been rescheduled to a later date. The Flyers have caught a little win streak as they swept their last two opponents. First, it was the Devils, and the Flyers were able to win that road stretch with 5-3 and 3-1 victories. It was actually the Islanders who gave the Flyers a little bit of trouble. Deep into overtime, it was Scott Longton who won it for the Flyers with his goal to put them up 3-2 on the Islanders. On Sunday, it was Kevin Hayes' turn to win one for the Flyers. His overtime goal came with just 41 seconds remaining on the clock as he used the power play to his advantage. Like I said earlier, a win is a win, and the Flyers have secured 4 straight. Just like that, the Flyers are back on pace at number 1 in their division. Sexy Gritty was quickly replaced with Gritty jumping into a ball pit as he posts to Twitter with a caption of "Flip, flip, Flipadelphia." It's good to see you back, Gritty. Staying in the Wells Fargo, the 76ers had their own slate of interesting games last week. The defending champion Los Angeles Lakers came into town in what was the battle of the best Western and Eastern Conference team this season. MV Bede was having himself a night until he fell hard on what looked like to be a dirty play by LeBron James. Embiid has been dealing with back problems ever since. My only question is, how has Embiid's back not started hurting earlier for how much he's carried the 76ers over the past couple years? Regardless of Embiid's health, it was the 76ers who were determined to win. Tobias Harris was the star of the show as he had a game winner to put the Lakers away, 107-106. In their game against the Pacers, the Sixers were down as many as 20 points in the third quarter. However, the final score was 119-110 as the Sixers were able to sneak away with the W. It came from a great defensive effort in the fourth quarter for the Sixers, as they only allowed 15 points in that quarter alone. They held Indiana to making only 29% of their shots from the floor. On the offensive side of the ball, Tobias Harris and Furkan Korkmaz led the way in the fourth as they dropped 10 and 11 points respectively. The Sixers were able to outscore the Pacers 31-8 in the final 8 minutes. This was a major win for the Sixers, as it was their first win this season that came without Joel Embiid in the lineup, as he is dealing with his back pains. But like I always say on this show, a win is a win. And after this win, an impressive win last week, the Sixers remain first in the East. As the Eagles continue to fill out their empty coaching spots, former Eagles head coach Andy Reid is preparing his Chiefs for yet another Super Bowl. Let's hope that the Frank Reich coaching tree is as rewarding to the Eagles as Andy Reid's coaching tree was. Speaking of Nick Sirianni, guess where he's been shopping for new coaches for his staff? If you guessed the Indianapolis Colts, well then you'll be right on. The Eagles have hired tight end coach Jason Michael to the same position for the Eagles. Serenity also grabbed Colts passing game coordinator Kevin Pilato to work the same position for the Eagles. The Eagles were nice enough to give former passing game coordinator and QB coach Press Taylor to the Colts. So at least they have someone from the Eagles staff. With all of these hires behind him, Serenity finally faced the Philadelphia media for the first time. His 1-hour-long interview gave Philly fans a glimpse of what to expect for the future. Sure, Serenity stumbled over a few words, but that's no big deal. In my eyes, I care more about what the 39-year-old coach can do on the field more than what he says to the media. I mean, arguably the two greatest coaches in the NFL today are notoriously bad during interviews. Don't forget, a win is a win, and you can only record wins and losses on the field. A win is always a win, and Philadelphia secured a lot of these last week. That's all for the DAC Recap. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram. Tune in next week for yet another recap.